Atlas has just released their first chapter of the Metaphor manga, and I gotta admit, it is honestly pretty good and much different than what I thought they would do for the manga of Metaphor. They originally announced they were going to make this manga a while ago, so it was just a matter of time before it actually finally released. I gotta say, first off, on first impression, the art style is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it's way better than what the Persona 5 manga did, and even the Persona 5 anime, which we don't gotta get into that one. The art style of this already looks incredible, and I'm definitely excited to read more. Now, there are things in this manga that I find a little bit weird, and maybe honestly good for the most part, which is they change a lot of the events that happen in the story. Like, first and foremost, they completely just cut out the whole northern border fort and how the whole mine scene. So they completely got rid of like that whole entire part of the first part of the game, which, I mean, I do find it a bit strange because that is where Will and also Stroll awaken their archetypes. So they're going to have to completely change the moment that they awaken their archetypes, which, hey, maybe it'll make it to a way better scene where they may be awakening in the heat of the moment when trying to assassinate Luis. Like, maybe Grius won't just frame one die trying to assassinate him, and instead they're going to actually awaken their archetype and try helping. But then, of course, Grius is still going to die in the end. But maybe they're going to change this whole scene to make it seem like Grius would actually have a chance. But then, no, of course, the King's Magic's going to stop him and he'll end up dying. What's also strange is that they completely changed the scene with Hulkenberg at the very start of the game on the carriage. They instead changed it to where that's where Will meets Stroll instead of Hulkenberg. I don't really know why they had to change that one specific scene. Maybe just so he can meet Stroll earlier instead of having to do the whole carriage ride to the northern border fort, since of course they cut that out. But I do find it a bit strange that certain things that they are tweaking with the story. So now when they first meet Hulkenberg, it's actually going to be Will's first time seeing her rather than seeing her for that split second on the carriage. And now I do also find it very interesting what they're even doing with Will as a character, because he honestly acts completely different than what I imagined him acting from all of his voice lines inside of the game. Like, first off, I feel like he's really like goofy, bratty character inside of this, where he's just like not really caring about most things. He's having like these little one-liners. He's also just like acting like he's like the strongest person around. I feel like my envision of Will was just like a laid back, like focused character. I don't know what you guys thought of him, but this manga just like completely is changing his character from what I thought, which I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I really like how the Persona 3 and 4 animes like really give the main characters their own personalities different from the game. And the reason why I include Persona 5 is because Joker inside the anime is literally just his lines from the game. They did no justice with him. But Persona 3, Makoto Yuki and Yuna Arakami, phenomenal character arcs. They even added whole new things for their character growth, which is what I'm really hoping to see in this manga, or even if they do turn into an anime as well. I would love to have like a whole new thing, a new content to have Will just have his own character arc and develop as a character, which again, what they did in like Persona 3 and 4, because people like me, where they just want more metaphor content, they really just want to see more. So having this be sure the same story lines, but completely changing the different events that leads up to certain things, it's just, if it's done right, it can be still really fun, just really nice read to have. And the first chapter is already making me seem like, sure, even though the events are changed, it's still going to be a phenomenal read. And, well, it's metaphor. The story's peak, so I'm glad to see how they do things differently. And right now, it seems like they're kind of rushing through it, but I'm just going to hope they're kind of rushing through the beginning rather than the whole story, because, well, the story doesn't really start until the tournament for the throne starts. So I am just hoping that once they get there, they actually do start slowing down and fleshing out each place rather than just completely speeding through and skipping areas, because it is crazy how much they already skipped in the first chapter. And now on the Stroll's character, I mean, he's relatively the same as the game, but I feel like in this manga, they made him like his aspirations to be like a true noble just cranked up to 10,000%. Like, originally in the game, he's just like this calm, collected character. He really just wants to strive to be like his parents that protected him from his village burning down, and that really made him see what a true noble is. Which, again, yes, that is what he's doing in the manga as well, but now he's like full on just like rushing toward anything that's happening. He's just like really trying to show Will that he's like a true noble, which is, I feel like, is a little bit different from his overall personality in the game, because he normally doesn't just straight up rush into things. He always has to come up with a plan. I mean, he's the one that comes with a lot of plans in this game, so just seeing him like full on rush into everything without thinking just for his noble cause. It's like they really are just cranking up his personality. It's like 1,000% from the game. But I mean, honestly, even though they are changing the story, maybe tweaking how the characters' personalities are even a little bit, it's still gonna make me really happy to read because, well, if you're someone who is kind of wanting them to make a remastered version of the game called like Metaphor Simile Edition and still pay $70, even though it's a bad financial decision and a horrible thing to do because they're kind of just stealing money and remaking the same game as a whole new $70 thing just to add a little bit of thing, and you'll pay for it just to see more extra content, I think it's fine just to, you know, read their manga instead of having to pay an extra $70 for a whole kind of the same experience but a little bit of things added to it. Even though I would purchase it because I love this game so much, but I know most people don't feel the same way, and also I do agree that it is a kind of a money grabbing thing to do to just release a full version of the game 2 years later. But with this manga kind of changing the events of the story, I could satiate myself to be able to see different events happening. So I just hope that they don't like not finish this, or at least take 500 years to finish it like how they do with Persona 5. Heck, that manga I don't think is even finished. So it is really do hope that they will continue working on this, hopefully weekly, not monthly. Hopefully they'll just release these out the same effort as they do in the art style of the first chapter, which is really good. And hopefully they don't change too much things to make the story bad, and just keep going like how they're doing it now, because I feel like the first chapter is already a really good read. And yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on the first chapter? Again, I liked it a lot, so hopefully they just keep it going like how they're doing. So thank you everybody so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, and if you enjoyed the content, make sure to subscribe. It would mean a lot to me if you did. And now I'll go back to being sad because, well, I've already experienced the Metaphor story, and even with the manga, there's not going to really be new story to experience until they make DLC or a new Metaphor 2. Refantazioing once again. Bye-bye.